Hey, this is Nik and Adinah Johnson.
Hello.
Hey, and welcome back to another video in our series on love and respect. First of all, if you're not a subscriber, we would ask that you would subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below. Also, we'll be utilizing the love and respect text. There'll be a link down in the description section to order it. Also, we'll be utilizing the workbook as well. Did I miss anything, baby?
Nope.
All right. Also, we'll do a couple subscriber shout outs toward the tail end of the video. So we'd ask you to hang around for that as well. So chapter 5 is she fears being a doormat. He's tired of just not getting it. What are your thoughts about that headline, baby?
Well, I think that's really good because it speaks to a lot of people how, many women feel like if they do the right thing, that they will be taken advantage of and they'll be a doormat.
Okay, so we talk about being, talking about respect.
Yes.
And unfortunately, when we talk about respect, if there are certain things that are done and you feel as though you're condoning it,
yeah,
I guess you could feel like a doormat.
Yeah.
So it's that crazy cycle that we've talked about already as far as how can you do that and continue being respectful, hoping that in turn you'll get that love and that both individuals will feel desired in the relationship. So
right.
That's a big thing here. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and dive into a few of the questions here.
Yep. Get right into it.
I got you.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go to, and you pretty much said it for question number 1. Do you have fear of being a doormat if you try to respect your husband unconditionally? I said no because I don't have that fear, but I think a lot of women do. And so to be fair with that, I think to say, hey, someone, I think most people fear that they're going to be taken advantage of.
But I feel as though, even though you say you don't have that fear, I think as a husband, we have to understand that, that there can be that concern, and we need to be mindful of that. So I think that over time, once we are loving and we show that's okay for that respect to be given, that there won't be an issue, that we can continue on, and that you won't have that fear of being a doormat. You're just saying, okay, you know what? I am just being respectful to my spouse. That's what he desires, and I'm okay with that because I know in turn I will get love.
Yeah. Well, and that's goodwill. You have to have the goodwill with it to say, okay, not only if you're in the crazy cycle or you can get in the crazy cycle, you have to understand that you can get in the energizing cycle as well, meaning giving respect, receive love, giving respect, and receiving the love.
Yeah. And I know that once you have that ebb and flow, things really will work itself out. But once again, you say it's that goodwill. And a lot of times we are quick to take away that goodwill. Sometimes if it's one infraction in a relationship,
okay, I get what
it's like, okay, I'll give you one chance.
Yeah.
And once that one chance is over, it's like, okay, goodwill's over.
I think I'm kind of like that. I'm all or nothing.
You are a woman of extremes. I've always said that. You either love real hard or you don't.
Yep. I'm going. I either love real hard or I'm out. I don't. It's like who?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they talk about who should make the first move.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's the second question. Who should make the first move?
So when we talk about the first move, what are we talking about? We're saying that, okay, there's something that's going on.
Yeah.
As far as something's not right between us. Who should make the first move?
Well, do you want me to say what he says?
I want you to say what he says, and I want to hear what you say.
Well, I say, for me personally, I think I'm the type of person I always want to make the first move because I just want to get it over with. I want to be happy. Which I say that, but I don't. You're the one that.
I am the one. I've constantly said I am the bigger one of the relationship. When she goes low, I go high. So
you're right. I would say get it over with, but I rarely do that.
Yeah. I feel like you want to get it over with other people sometimes.
Yeah.
But
I give you all the smoke.
Yeah.
That's not the truth.
No, but I think that I do want to give you credit in that this is something that you have worked on over the years. Because in the beginning, you never really wanted to deal with stuff.
Exactly.
But now you will address things. But
because I will address things because you have been an amazing example of getting it over with and apologizing even when I'm wrong. So I try not to do that anymore. I try to get it over with.
Because
and
the goal is to have more fun than pain.
Yeah.
So my thing is, let's go ahead and pull the Band-Aid off real quick. Let's go ahead and get this over with so we can have a good time.
Right.
So that's really ultimately what it comes down to. So just like he says here in the top of page 64, he claims that someone has to make the first move. Just like I said, sometimes, now this was a thing that I made reference to, that sometimes it's lonely on the high road, but you can never go wrong with doing right.
I agree.
So sometimes, you do literally like, you know what, I'm tired of being the mature one, but sometimes someone has to be.
Yeah.
And
that's what he says. The person that's most mature is the one that makes the first
I'm disagreeing
move.
with what you're saying.
I'm watching you.
All right. So we talked about the doormat and the importance of a woman not feel like a doormat. Question number 3 says, not a doormat, but a woman with power. Okay.
Ooh, I like that.
So when you hear that concept, as far as what do you feel like as far as the power of a woman? Because I know you're definitely a champion for women understanding the abilities that they have.
Yeah.
And how they can impact and affect the relationship. So what are your thoughts about that?
And I am working on a video about the power of a woman. I think I want to have you here for moral support when I do it because, you're just easy on the eyes.
Easy on the eyes.
But yeah, I agree. I think it's powerful for a woman to step forward and be loving and respectful as well.
Yeah. And I think one of the great things about it is that it has nothing to do, when you talk about the power, oftentimes people equate power with strength.
Yeah.
But it has nothing to do with physical strength.
No, it doesn't.
Because it's just the ability to be able to take a particular situation and to really take it to a point where both individuals are able to have a certain realization, or the ability I think that a woman has to be able to really, really bring a situation down oftentimes with just, her demeanor and, just, her voice.
Because women, they do have a lot of power and they have a lot of control, and we can make or break a situation. We can make it right or we can break it.
Yeah. And also they make reference to taking a risk. And here in the text it says, what if you're afraid to take the risk?
Yeah.
I think I've always felt like no matter what you do, you take a risk, because when you take a risk, basically, what are you being? You're not being guarded.
Yeah.
You're not protecting yourself. So to really be able to be connected to someone at a very high level, you have to be willing to take down those guards.
Yeah,
so
and be
it's
vulnerable.
A risk.
That's right.
It's extremely
That's
that.
Absolutely right. Well, one more in this one, and it says it's not a doormat, but a woman with power. And in one of the questions or one of the snippets, it says, if I respect him, he'll become arrogant and self-centered. Again, I think a lot of women feel like their husband will become arrogant and self-centered if they respect him.
I wish I could disagree with you.
Yeah.
But I know there are situations where that can happen.
Right.
But I think it's two sides to that. There's two sides to the coin.
Yeah.
Where I know here they're talking about a woman's concern with being a doormat.
Right.
But I think there's also a concern that a man can have. Is that, okay, well, even if she's acting disrespectful, I'm concerned about constantly being loving toward her.
Yeah.
And then at that particular point, they'll feel like a doormat as well. So I think it can go both ways, even though he
That's
kind of
true.
tends to direct this dialogue in the book toward women.
Yeah.
I think it can go both ways. So.
Well, and I agree. I think many times if a man feels like he's going to be disrespected or a doormat, he'd leave. Most men will, because they have to have that dignity. Mm-hmm. And I always say you don't want to take a person's dignity away from them. That's why one of our tools is allow your partner to retreat with dignity.
Yeah, that's true. And also in here, he gets into a story. He talks about a husband decoded in jail. And that's an interesting one there, where they get into a husband and a wife get into a physical altercation.
Yeah.
And he makes reference to he threw a plate.
That is never good.
That is never good at all. Even though in this particular story, he says that he has kind of this epiphany.
Yeah.
When he is in jail.
In jail.
And he realizes the error in his ways. And at that particular point, once he gets out, he actually goes and starts to try to be basically, a champion for marriage and healthy marriages.
Right.
And how he knows that it's a better way, and how he started like a church group and things like that.
Yeah, that basically changed his life, and he was able to take a bad situation and turn it for good.
Yeah. But the goal is not to get there.
Yeah.
We want to be emotionally mature enough where we'll know, what, I'm not in a good space.
Right.
And that I need to step away. Because, as you said before, a physical altercation is never the answer. It's not male on female or even female on male, because it happens both ways.
Yeah.
Even though the latter is not as common,
right,
it does happen. So we want to make sure that we get in this particular place. And once again, that's a result of the crazy cycle.
Yeah, it is. And the frustration of it all. And that's sad and unfortunate.
Yeah, that's true. So are there any other questions inside here that you want to tackle in chapter 5?
Let's see. I have question number 8.
Okay.
Are you okay with that one?
I am.
Okay. And that talks a little bit about the 2 letters that you talked about. Even if a spouse doesn't get it, still encourage him. Is my answer what I said. What phrases or ideas stand out, and which should you use more often? And I said, even if your spouse doesn't get it, if he's trying to encourage him and be his cheerleader, if he's trying to show you love, even if you're being disrespectful, if he's taking the high road, give him encouragement and tell him where he's doing good.
Yeah, it's important to give that affirmation, acknowledgement of effort, because we are quick to tell someone where they're not doing something, but sometimes when they do it, we're not as quick to verbalize it.
Right.
So we need to make sure that we are acknowledging those things when they happen. So I completely agree.
Okay. And did you want to do number 10?
Nope, because that's in chapter 6, baby.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, got you. All right. So that's chapter 5. So definitely down in the comments, let us know what you think about chapter 5.
That was pretty quick.
Yeah, it was. What about doormats?
Yeah.
Do you feel as though there's been a situation where you had to take a step back and say, hey, am I being taken advantage of?
Yeah.
So definitely put out down in the comments. Also, we said that we were going to do some subscriber shout outs.
Yeah.
So what I want to do here is I want to shout out.
Yes.
Photo Owl.
Yes.
All right. So Photo Owl has a great channel. We're going to put a link right down below. He's one of our subs. So he has a lot of interesting things there on his channel, a lot of interesting videos. We're all stuck at home, and that's a great way to pass the time. So definitely check him out down in the link below. So we're good there?
That's good.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up now. Thank you all so much. Once again, this is Adinah Johnson. I am Nik Johnson. Take care of yourselves and keep loving one another.